Web3 gaming, the latest news, updates, and esports. Hosted by Sedano and Luis Buenaventura. This is YGGTV.
Hey YGG fam, we've just launched the revamp of the whole Yield Guild Games brand. A new and exciting overhaul to the current design, setting an even higher standard amongst other brands in the space. From the guild's vibe, typeface, website, and introducing a dynamic and customizable guild logo, we are the only ones doing this right now. On the other line, we have Yield Guild Games Head of Design, Jen Yu, the genius behind this whole new concept. Really happy to be with you here this morning. Tell us a little bit about your background, before all the madness of YGG.
Yeah, I've been sort of had a multifaceted sort of creative career, I suppose. My background is a little bit, it's combined between creative, but also, technical person. I used to write my own code, even as an animator, like back in the day. I was a really lazy animator. So I was actually like writing my own script so that I would just get automations in all my animation. But I guess that kind of sent me through gaming, sort of at the early part of my career. But I've essentially spent a lot of time, doing kind of really next gen sort of application development in Silicon Valley. I guess more kind of recent projects was at Masterclass, where I was a head of design there, where we launched iOS and just kind of a lot of platforms from scratch. And so generally, I've just kind of been really interested in how technology develops, how we communicate with people. I was having a chat with Gabby, after my time at Masterclass. I was just like, tell me more about blockchain. So I thought it was super interesting. And then eventually ended up at YGG. I think with YGG too, in particular, as a Filipino, I thought it was really cool that, here's this kind of product community that is emerging, out of the Philippines. So I wanted to be part of that.
Because you've kind of approached design from so many different industries, do you find that there's something particular about gaming that kind of makes the design challenge different? Or maybe you could speak to kind of the differences of how that works.
Yeah. So I think gaming is always kind of heralds where the next thing goes. Gaming was sort of the gateway drug, into kind of seeing kind of how technology works. Gaming is such a complicated ecosystem, right? With many people hitting the system, many use cases hitting the system. It's not a medical product. So you can take a lot of risks in seeing how far the technology can take you and how far some of these mechanisms and behaviors can take you. And then when the rest of the industry start catching up, that's when you kind of start seeing it lining up, right?
Yeah. Let's fast forward to kind of your time in YGG. You've been spearheading what is the new YGG brand. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of how that redesign came about and maybe some of the thinking behind it?
With any sort of design process, it always starts with what's the problem we're trying to solve and what we're trying to accomplish. Especially with the redesign, I think also a unique challenge because YGG is already kind of quite loved, right? When you want to do a redesign, you want to make sure you kind of preserve all of that love that already is kind of built in with the brand, and really break down and understand what are the pieces that make it a brand that people resonate with. A huge part of it was understanding the community, right? Because it's very kind of community oriented, community focused, but also we needed to kind of find out what does a community mean. And in our case, it is a gaming guild where people play together. When we think about the activities, it's not just playing together, right? What are other things that we do together that makes it special, right? Because at the end of the day, just friendships are created, different kinds of guilds are created with different kinds of areas of specialization, I guess, on what kind of communities they want to have. But I think one of the key issues that we unearthed was everyone wanted to have their own identity, but it's hard to kind of show like the affiliation, right? Like, how do we show that like you are an individual or a group, but also a part of YGG, right? So that's kind of like the tricky part. And so the one of the early questions we were asking is like, okay, like, so here kind of like two wants, how do we bring that together and create something that is like, that expresses individuality, but also expresses that you belong to a group.
Well said. I'm super excited. Let's take a look at that new brand right now. So that was amazing. Tell us more about this new rune system that you designed. Like, how did you even come up with this thing?
Pretty much like, the way the design team operates is also like, we are also a community. So there's kind of like a couple of people that really sort of, like brainstormed this. The concept behind it really is that how do we express the individual and how we express a whole? So the way to kind of like break that down is like, we essentially have this like Lego block like building system, right? So you have like individual pieces and then you have the whole. So even down to kind of like that level, there is something that expresses what it means to be in the community. In terms of like the specific construction of the rune, we did actually do a lot of testing. You've also experienced this, Luis. Yeah, we've kind of like sent you sort of like the different iterations of it. We started out with like something very simple, like a square, but we were running into like a few limitations on how crazy, the images you can construct would be. And we wanted to also kind of like give folks like maximum, creativity. We had to kind of make the base shapes like a little bit more complex. So that's why we ended up with, the hexagon shapes. One of our key collaborators on this rune system is this like, wonderful, super talented designer named Cliff Chen. He really kind of like helped us get the system and sort of like, a lot of this like rigor and discipline around how are we going to get like sort of like the maximum creative value out of these runes.
I mean, I got to see kind of some of the iterations, as you said, and I remember, kind of like thinking like, this is such a difficult design challenge because what you're kind of looking for here is a way to guarantee that every logo that is made using this system looks like it belongs to that family, while at the same time, you kind of want to give as much design freedom as possible. And I thought that was like an impossible balance because it was so tricky, right? To kind of figure out how that was going to kind of work out in the end.
Yeah, that was a lot of sleepless nights.
I think one of the key ways that we will know that the redesign has been successful is if we can get other, guilds or organizations to kind of start using the rune system themselves for their own stuff. Maybe you can talk through some of our ideas about how we could possibly help them out or support them to kind of start incorporating this stuff into their own.
Sure. I mean, we do have a roadmap around, issuing the brand kit, right? So there's going to be multiple stages of these. The manual level is like, we're gonna like send out like a Google Drive with like all of the assets that you'll ever need, as well as like instructions. So we'll have a library of these. Plus, we are also going to be setting up like a few workshop sessions, like open office hours to do like some tutorials with folks who are interested on understanding how to use this rune system. We are gonna, like find a path to get some of these like automated, as well as like minted, right? So something that certifies, your brand association with YGG.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. And actually, this is a very exciting time because I've not really had a chance personally to apply some of my design experience to YGG before, and kind of getting involved at least on the level where I can start making runes for some of my own guilds or some of our partner guilds. I'm super excited about the possibilities here, so I can't wait. Let me end with this. What advice do you have for kind of the aspiring designers within the YGG community? There's a lot of them out there. Do you have any advice for folks like that?
So some of the best advice that I've gotten is mostly just kind of like stay curious, learn from everyone around you. I think especially with YGG, I mean, it's such an incredible like opportunity, to just like even be part of YGG, where there's kind of like designers at like and creative people at every level, like literally just like show up, right? And there's kind of like 10 people who can, support and kind of like help you on that. I think in the last few months, it's been like super crazy, just like trying to deploy like this new brand. But I do want to like also have like some office hours like on Discord as well, like if anyone wants like career advice or just kind of like chat about like design and where we're taking like YGG design, we'll get all of that set up.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. You everyone. Jen, thanks for your time. This was an amazing interview. So excited for all of the possibilities that we can do with the new YGG brand and rune system. Stay safe and see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Being a leader in the space isn't easy. There are several factors that elevate a brand amongst others, but having a visual identity that creates a connection with the community isn't something that every brand can do. But with the right approach, by leveraging creativity and experience, the possibilities are endless. Who would have thought that we would have turned our logo into a modular puzzle? We can't wait to see what you guys can come up with. The crypto industry is full of uncertainties and volatility, and that's basically what differentiates it from other markets. But through the bulls and the bears and the ups and the downs and all of that volatility, one institution has been through the thick of it all since the very beginning, and hopefully for years to come. And that is Binance, one of the world's leading cryptocurrency exchanges. Joining us in the studio today is none other than Kenneth Stern, Binance's country manager for the Philippines. Kenneth, welcome. Thank you so much for making the time for us today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so before we begin, I kind of wanted to just like get a sense of your career before Binance, before web3, before crypto and all of that stuff. What were you doing before all of this?
Yeah, so I've had a pretty interesting journey, I would say. I've been in tech for the last couple of years, but before that I was really in real estate. And before that, I was a professional athlete.
Dang.
So I've gone from sports to real estate to tech and now into crypto.
Is there anything like from your sports career days, has any of that translated into like cryptocurrencies and stuff like that?
I mean, you hear the typical analogies between like sports and business and things like that, and I think it's very similar with every industry, even with the Web3 industry. So it's all about creating wins as a group and as a company, as an individual in my position. So. And also, like, we work with a lot of athletes, especially with e-games and things like that. So it'd be an opportunity for me to kind of like, work with athletes again. So,
right. It's really interesting. Mm-hmm. When you joined Binance, you joined as the country manager for the Philippines, but the Philippines already had somewhat of an operation for Binance at the time. Maybe you can speak to like what it was like for you in your first month or so when you were just trying to get your head around.
So we've been understanding the space in the Philippines for a while, and I think that crypto adoption in the Philippines has a lot of potential. According to BSP data, there's roughly 12 million digital asset holders in the country, and Chainalysis put a report last year saying that Philippines was number 2 worldwide, just behind Vietnam, in terms of share of wallet size. So we believe that Philippines is a potential for a huge crypto adoption and one of the crypto hubs potentially in the world. But yeah, I think that just due to demographics of a young population, that everyone's on their phones, high internet usage. So a lot of my job was really understanding, Filipinos and understanding, what they're actually using crypto for.
I kind of wanted to zoom out a little bit and just kind of get a sense of, as we're recording this, it's been a rough month for the crypto community, the industry in general, maybe even banking. The entire banking sector has been having a rough month. And I kind of wanted to get a sense of what the Binance perspective on it all is. Maybe just to set some context, in the last few weeks, we've seen 3 different banks in the United States all go under some form of collapse. There was Silvergate, there was Silicon Valley Bank, and then there was Signature very recently, all kind of back to back to back, and it seems like that might not even be the end of it. What's Binance's take on all of this, and do you guys position yourselves at all when it comes to like these big bank failures?
Yes, I would say this is pretty big news, everything that happened the last couple of weeks and even just the last couple of days. So our perspective on sort of what's been happening is we have a very long-term vision in terms of business. We have a very simple business model. We don't make big decisions based on the market because we've hedged ourselves, for very long-term risks. So one thing that we have done is, for BUSD and USDC conversions, we've halted that for now. That's an obvious procedure for risk monitoring. So stuff like that we do. But in terms of making big business decisions, when market shifts, we tend to kind of have a very long-term view on our business processes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So like when it comes to like say the uncertainty in the U.S. banking sector, would you say that it doesn't really have much of an impact necessarily on Binance?
I mean, there's obviously impacts to the entire industry, and there's going to be a ripple effect for multiple banks. Luckily, we don't have any exposure to SPV at all. So we've been okay there, and actually the crypto market in general has been up, I think, about 30% since this happened. But just generally, I think that we try to keep as a long-term perspective as possible when it comes to any sort of market shifts.
That's fair. Yeah, and so for a lot of people, they don't actually know the backstory of something you mentioned earlier about BUSD. A lot of people assume that Binance is the organization that's actually issuing BUSD when that's not actually the case.
Correct.
It's actually a third party called Paxos.
Correct.
Maybe you can kind of speak to that a little bit.
It's important to understand the facts as well to what actually is happening, because people can associate BUSD with Binance, but the reality is it's wholly owned and managed by Paxos. So what happened was Paxos was ordered by the New York Department of Financial Services to halt minting of new BUSD. So the existing BUSD will still be managed and supervised by Paxos, and they've ensured that all customers will be able to access that and offer input if they want to. Of course, the market cap will now decrease because of halting of minting of new BUSD. Right. And we've been insured by Paxos that is all backed one-to-one by reserves.
Right.
But we have no actual operational or ownership on the BUSD stablecoin itself.
Right. Yeah, and that was always kind of an interesting distinction for me, because the assumption usually is that if you've got your name on it, like you're the ones kind of directly issuing. Speaking of that BUSD, Binance recently announced that they had close to $1 billion of BUSD that they were planning on converting into Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, maybe some other cryptos.
Yeah, CZ tweeted about this, that he'll be moving the RRI, the Industry Recovery Fund, into native tokens. And the reason for that is obviously the market instability that we're facing now, and also the regulatory instability that's happening. So we want to keep our assets safe. So that's really the reason for the shift. We recently topped up our SAFU fund to over $1 billion as well.
Okay.
Industry Recovery Fund is over $1 billion. So we're trying to do the best we can to help the industry and I guess ensure that people's funds are safe. And I think this would be the obvious move to move it into a native currency.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw this news, I kind of laughed a little bit because, I mean, if you consider the goal of the Industry Recovery Fund, I mean, it's in the name, right? It's supposed to help the industry recover from possible collapse or emergencies. And the move is to move it away from USD. So, I think as we saw, the crypto market in general kind of really reacted to that move.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder, like, how much of that is self-fulfilling? Like, if you announce something that's like really overwhelmingly positive like that for crypto, it makes the crypto market also positive?
Yeah. I mean, to be a part of an organization that has that power is rewarding. I think that it is a big impact. And I think, it is also a responsibility for Binance to manage that. Obviously, we can't be saying things that will affect the market in a negative way. And I think, we've been very calculated with sort of, what we go out with publicly. And we're trying to kind of be different than, some of the other players that have kind of fallen off in the last year.
In Yield Guild, I mean, we care about, very deeply about games. I mean, it's in our name, I guess. What's Binance's position on blockchain gaming? I know that you guys have kind of supported some game projects in the past.
I would say that we're not, at least myself, not an expert in the gaming space, but I do see as the gaming space as an entry point for a lot of people into cryptocurrency and digital assets. It really depends on, I think, which market you're targeting and what user base is existing there. So I would say in the Philippines specifically, there's a huge opportunity for games. In other markets, maybe not so much. But I do support it. And I know as a company, we do support innovation, building, creating use cases for crypto. So if there's projects out there that do want to get in touch with us, we're more than happy to support them and understand what their products are about. Because I do believe that the more use cases there are, the more products there are out there, the more crypto understanding there is as a country, the better it'll be for regulatory regulatory environment as well.
Right. Yeah. I know that Binance, other than kind of maybe your support of games and stuff like that, you've also got a really big kind of investment in education and stuff like that. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about Binance Academy.
Yeah, so Binance Academy has evolved, I would say, in the last year, even since I joined. So Binance Academy used to just be a depository of data for people to access. It used to be just be an app where people can go onto different articles. There was roughly 400 at the time in about 20 different languages, and you just read about what's happening, kind of around the world and kind of like new projects and understanding a bit more about Web3. The Academy has now evolved into actual curriculum, actual coursework, actual mentorship and training students in different markets. So we're lucky enough that we have now in the APAC region a Binance Academy team that's focusing on working with universities and college students on getting into Web3 as early as as your college course, so that you have a stronger entry point into the Web3 industry if that's what you choose to do after graduation.
For Filipinos specifically, like what's the first way that they're going to see Binance Academy in action for them on the ground?
So we're going to be doing a roadshow throughout the year. So a number of different universities will be benefiting from this. So we'll actually go to the university and do like a blockchain 101 or a NFT 101 or something along those lines, and give some general information. And from there, we'll create some breakouts into smaller, more specific topics, and we'll build curriculum with the university to actually implement this over time. And that's sort of our long-term vision. Is this is not just something that's a fad. This is going to be a long-term industry that needs experts in this field. For example, like Solidity is a basic building knowledge that that developers will need, and a basic salary for that is roughly $100,000 in the US. We can kind of give that access to Filipinos, and they could be earning US dollars in the Philippines working for companies around the world in the Web3 space. And that access has really never been available until now.
You heard it here first, guys. University roadshows led by Binance. Get your internship application documents ready. I mean, I'm just kidding, but I assume what you're going to end up with is a lot of internship applications, because a lot of these kids are constantly looking for kind of summer programs or something that they can join. And I mean, I'm sure you agree where the easiest way to learn a new thing is to just get in there and experience it firsthand.
Purview, we also have a scholarship program now. We're working with Education on that. So if anyone is a partner of Education, you can go on there and actually apply for a Binance scholarship. So we're trying to help people, get the resources they need to get into the Web3 space.
Okay, that's awesome. Is there anything else for the Philippines specifically that you guys are planning for 2023 that we can kind of look forward to?
Community building is one thing that we're working on globally. I think that grassroots is something that's Web3 has been built on, but I think it's also the future. So we do a lot of community events. Typically every month we're doing some sort of meetup. So please do follow our socials to find out more information on when the next meetup will be. And we'd love to meet with kind of the community and see what they're doing, what they're building, and how we can just kind of help support any way we can.
Right, that's awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I have to ask this question because we ask this from everyone who's leading in the industry. Like, where do you think the industry is heading in 5 years? Just 5 years.
I would say that the more knowledge that we can share with the regulators and the more regulation we can create, the better off we're going to be as an industry. I think this industry needs regulation. I think it needs clear definitions of what that actually is. And we need, experts in this field to advise and also to work with government. We see ourselves as the bridge between traditional finance and DeFi. We want to kind of help, move that along. We've beefed up our compliance team to now 750 people globally, a lot of coming from FBI and Europol. So we are trying to be, not only the most regulated company in the world, but the most compliant company in the world, which you can see kind of in our business direction. We do, hope that we can, work together with, both the public and private sector to grow the industry.
Well said. Thanks so much, Kenneth. As we've learned, Binance continues to innovate and provide a secure and user-friendly platform for millions of users around the world, being one of the institutions at the very forefront of the digital asset revolution. Thank you, Kenneth, for joining us today. I mean, you were very insightful, and really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Louis. Cheers. Anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Gaming and esports in Web3 has been action-packed this year so far. From high-stakes LAN tournaments to notable milestones of Web2 meets Web3 gaming. My name is Keisaya, keeping you up to speed with Web3 gaming and esports, brought to you by Meta Sports. 2023 starts to see more IRL action in Axie Infinity with multiple LAN tournaments happening in various regions. The Snack Club Axie Showdown recently took place in Brazil with a prize pool of 11,000 AXS. ADRD of Method Meta Guild took home the championship trophy along with a 2,200 AXS prize pool share. Over the East is a E4E Miners LAN event in Vietnam. The tournament was held in Vietnam and awarded $100,000 in prize pool. Meat Value from Spanish guild Sura Gaming was crowned champion on the event. The AXITH World Battle is also taking place in Thailand this June. It is anticipated to be the biggest prize pool tournament in the third AXI Esports Grand Calendar with $200,000 in rewards. The Lunation Sports League has also launched Season 5, featuring 10,500 AXS in prize pool and its first LAN Finals event. The league recently announced that the LAN Finals is set to take place in Southeast Asia. Quest announced the end of their esports division as competitive esports no longer fits in the guild's long-term mission. Quest nonetheless reassured that they are working with the players and creators to ensure they can continue their journey with Quest as a community and assist others in finding new teams. Following the said shutdown, one of Quest's top players, Spam and Rise, has been announced to be joining the YGG Elite esports team. Spam and Rise made rounds in the Axie esports scene with notable victories and over $183,000 in esports earnings. In other news, Xboard has launched the Extreme Championship Series, a $100,000 league. The tournament features 5 different Web3 games such as EVE.io, Gods Unchanged, and Planet Mojo, running from March to July. 100 Thieves launched the 2022 World Championship Ring NFT to commemorate the Call of Duty League World Championship victory last August 2022. The NFTs were free to mint as a gift to all its fans who followed and supported the team's journey. TSM has recently partnered with blockchain platform Avalanche to integrate Web3 features into their competitive gaming app, Blitz. The partnership will allow TSM to create new experiences for players, fans, and creators, marking a major step forward in bringing player-first Web3 products to mainstream. As we continue to see intersections between Web2 and Web3 gaming, the CEO of professional gaming org Talon Esports gained notable buzz when he teased in a tweet that the org will soon be fielding for teams in Web3 gaming. Nouns Esports, the decentralized esports organization founded by Nouns DAO, recently had their CSGO team secure a spot in the Intel Extreme Masters Dallas 2023. The main event is set to take place this coming May to June. Project Stadium by Black Hand DAO launched last January. Stadium is a permissionless league protocol that brings any competitive environment on-chain. The protocol allows players form teams to compete in events as well as flex and show off skills with unlockable assets. It will also allow the community to buy NFTs that contribute to prize pools, players, and teams they care about. It is exciting times for gaming and esports in Web3 as the scene continues to evolve. Once again, this is Kaysaya for all things Web3 gaming, brought to you by Metasports.
So, esports has taken the world by storm. And with the emergence of blockchain gaming, a new wave of esports is on the horizon. So YGG strives to forefront this new movement with the focus on building a more equitable and inclusive gaming ecosystem. We are leading the charge together with former Blizzard program manager for Hearthstone, Mike Oveka, bringing with him years of experience in competitive gaming to the table. And his first order of business was to find a captain for the guild's Axie Infinity esports team, named YGG Elite. So it didn't take long before we found this guy on Twitch, constantly killing it on the leaderboards in the early days of Axie V2. And to add, this guy is actually a collegiate athlete who had the heart of a real sportsman, unlike any other. So in the studio with us today is YGG Elite Team Captain, the one and only DC. How you doing, bro?
What's up? What's up? Doing good. Grinding a lot in Axie right now, and yeah.
Good to have you here, man. So like winding it back, I specifically remember going on Twitch and checking out your stream. You were on stream, and that was the time that you actually hit number one. Mm-hmm. And actually, guess who sent your profile to us? It's no one other than Archer Perezz himself.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you have to check this guy out. Yeah, shout outs to Archer for this find right here, right? Would you mind telling us about your background and how you got started in competitive gaming?
So basically, as you said, you found me on Twitch. So during that time, it was during the pandemic. So I really have nothing much to do because before the pandemic, I was actually a student pilot. During that time, I went back to my roots, which is actually playing. But this time around, it's playing computer games. And then I started like streaming, found out actually at some point in my streaming career, and realized that at some point, maybe I could consider being competitive in that game as well.
How do you think blockchain will influence or change esports as we know it?
I think the main difference right now with blockchain in terms of esports is that those players actually, at least most of them, own what they actually compete with. And at the same time, since there's a lot of like crypto involved and like NFTs, these people are fighting for those as well. So somehow these like competitive players actually immediately get what they actually play for, something like that.
And yeah, I mean, it's a lot more exciting that there are new, instruments that are put into play here. So it's not as straightforward in Web2 games where maybe you join a tournament and then like after you get your prize pool if you win, right?
Yeah.
But now we're talking about NFTs. You even have NFT trophies where, if I'm not mistaken, YGG Elite was able to bag the first NFT trophy of the YGG Managers Cup back in 2021, right?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of opportunities that can come from the convergence of esports and blockchain games. So it's pretty exciting stuff, and especially that, as a team captain, like you are always meeting new people who are joining the competitive scene. Mind me asking, so can you give us more info on any challenges that come with competing in Axie Infinity, and how do you and your teammates like work around it?
The challenging part that we needed to be like met was finding the right people. The competitive space in Web3 is very, very new. And even though there's a lot of people with like different background from Web2 games, you still can't say that this guy would be the best. Yeah. So that was the challenge before. And then Web3 gaming, the reason why it's also good is that it's global. Different culture and different people that we've been meeting. It's not always you'd be able to understand them as the same as your culture, right? So it's pretty interesting because initially when I was like talking with Mike, and I think I was able to tell with the other members as well, is that we always try to make our team like as close as possible so that we can freely share our ideas. So I think that's very important when we build the elite.
Let's say in terms of communication, so like you have an obstacle that you have to get through. Let's say you're joining a tournament or you have to fight a new meta, you have to come up with a new strategy. So how do you approach communicating with your teammates? How does your role as a team captain come into play?
We've been together for more than a year now. So there's definitely a lot of like stuff that happened. And some of the stuff that I can definitely remember is that for some seasons, as you said, there's different metas, right? And we have different players with different skill sets as well and different play styles. So we try to utilize those players such that when there's a meta that actually fits their play style, we try to hear that guy's opinion first. It's very important that you can trust your teammate, especially in this scene. People might think that Axie Infinity, it's just like a single player competitive game, but as like what
way
we
bigger than
realized
that,
for quite some time now, because there's also like different organizations, considering like a team effort is very important to try to win most of the tournaments, most of the season. So that's very important.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up very important points here. So just like any other esports team, even in Web 2, I think the teams that thrive the most are those teams who have a very solid support system. And that's one thing that we see in YGG Elite, right? So it doesn't really matter like if you win or you lose a game. Like what matters is if you don't make it, like you have a whole team who doesn't care if you lost, but they're actually there, who cares more about how you win the next time. How do you solve the problems, right? And how do you solve these differences? How do you work around it? And I'm drawn to people or groups who, actually strike me as, I want to be part of those guys. I mean, they might not be, like the champions of every single league in the scene, but I mean, I don't mind just hanging out with them and like laughing at our mistakes and trying to figure out how to make it better next time, right? So let's talk about the team in general. So what accomplishments have you guys been working on so far?
From the start of the Origins tournament back in Spain, I think Zeliaser started it well because he finished third there. And from that point on, the team has been like winning like tournaments, even if it's not like the first place, it's just like the top 3 place. So it's very important to what we've been trying to do with the Elite. We always try to be as consistent as possible, even if we're not like winning all the time. As long as we're like consistent, there's definitely gonna be a time that it's gonna be ours.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree, man. I think that championships, the big wins, are byproducts of small successes, and in this case, done collectively as a team, right? And I think, being able to reach the top rank and the biggest tournaments feels a lot more exciting if you're doing it with your friends, right?
Yeah.
So DC, can you tell us more about for 2023, right? So what are you guys working on as a team? Like, are there any things that you're looking forward to, or anything that we can expect in the near future?
The Origins itself in Axie, it's not very like, I would say, at the stable point yet. So that's what they're trying to do. So we ourselves in the team, we're just always trying to adapt.
Yeah.
And through adapting, we have to constantly like talk with each other. And then once we get a hold of what's happening with the game, then that is the perfect time for us to share our knowledge to, especially the YGG community. We're hoping that as the season goes on, we'd be able to help the community as well with our knowledge as a team.
I mean, in general, like we have the Axie Infinity Bootcamp happening every Monday on the YGG Discord. So everyone watching at home, make sure to check that out. That's around 9 p.m. So before, we used to have the boot camp where we had one host and the community listens, and you basically walk them through and the updates. Now we have at least 2 hosts and 1 guest host, and all of these guys are from YGG Elite, and it's pretty fun to watch. Now it's 3 of you guys. We see how you are with each other on stream together with the community. So now everyone else watching, feels like that they're part of the YGG Elite. Definitely something to watch out, because they even have a Beat the Streamer program where they have to do challenges. If one of the viewers tries to challenge them and wins, so the winner gets rewarded in YGG tokens, while if the YGG Elite loses, I've seen Dissy do dance challenges. I've seen Big Gabby do dance challenges. So it's pretty good that you guys are esports players and not dancers, right? So that's one thing, definitely, guys.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, so Dissy, what is one thing that you look at when looking for teammates? If there are people in the community who think they have what it takes, what set of characteristics do they have to have for you to consider?
As I said, it's very hard to like figure it out, right? So even though we know this like person, we still have to get the feel if that person would fit into the team in terms of chemistry. And it's also like important to know if that person would be hardworking in the entire process, because there would be people that would just like work hard in the first like few months and then change his like attitude or like personality with the game. It's a challenge that we always try to figure out, but we always try to hear what the other like members would also say in terms of like the person that might join us.
I also think that, at the end of the day, it's the right players will be the ones who will be finding you. Like, you're not really looking for them proactively, but the guys who share the same mentality, share the same discipline and commitment will end up in the same groups. And I think YGG Elite is a really good home for people who want to take their esports careers to the next level. So everyone at home, make sure to check out the YGG Elite team. It's at YGG Elite on Twitter, and they're always on Discord hanging out. We have the boot camps. Make sure to check it out. And while you're at it, hit that like and subscribe button. But yeah, Dissy, as a captain, one thing to understand, it's not all about winning, but most importantly, it's about the ability to lead and foster camaraderie within your unit, right? So a lot more to watch out for, because these guys, they're just getting started. Today, we are excited to take you inside the minds of one of the most prominent blockchain game organizations in the world, the Blockchain Game Alliance. The BGA is a non-profit organization that promotes the adoption of blockchain technology in the gaming industry. Its members include game developers, publishers, and service providers who are committed to exploring the potential of blockchain in game. And with us today in the studio, live from Zoom, we got Flav from the Blockchain Game Alliance. Hey Flav, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks a lot for the invite. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So Flav, would you mind giving us a background of, how you got started with BGA, and what have you been up to before being part of, this very prestigious organization?
I'm Flav, the director of global development, and I'm managing the strategy of expanding the BGA all over the world. My main mission is obviously to bring a strong value proposition for our ecosystem of members and help the gaming industry to understand why they should consider blockchain technologies within their games.
What are the programs that you guys, are most focused on in promoting the adoption of blockchain and Web3 games?
The main thing that we do is we provide this open forum for individuals and companies to share knowledge, to collaborate, to create some standards together, to establish best practices. But above all, I would say the main benefit of being a member of the BGA is for us to make it easier for every professionals involved in both blockchain technologies and gaming companies to actually have a chance to meet each other, to connect with each other, and we want to facilitate that. And our goal is also to provide some awareness about what they're building, what our members are doing, and we want to help them promote what they're doing towards the gaming industry.
What was the reception of the general community in gaming when you put the BGA together? Like, did you guys have any challenges, or was it more of an inclusive environment?
It really depends. Obviously, we are welcoming every company who would like to work with each other, so it's easy for us to actually explain what we do because they understand the value proposition of what we do. I would say, as regards with the gaming industry, there is a parallel that you could see is with what happened with the free-to-play mobile gaming surge. First, you got a lot of backlash from the gaming industry saying that a real gamer should only be playing on console, and there cannot be a future with mobile gaming, and casual gamers can't exist. And look now at the competition in the Apple Store and the Android Store in terms of how many games you could play. But trying to work with our members could be very easy because it's easy to start a conversation about what we try to do together. Obviously, our main focus is to educate the gaming industry and try to reach the traditional gaming industry to explain why blockchain should matter. So obviously, it really depends on the kind of factors we are facing, but this is good to actually capitalize on all the 500 companies we have in the BGA to have some arguments about why blockchain with the different use cases and services they're building.
I mean, I agree. Like I think it's the healthy conversations that spark the best of ideas. What would you say as a collective? What do you see the future of gaming in general is? So I'm not just talking about Web3 blockchain games, but Web2 as well.
I think we are living in an exciting time. It's just a matter of how we could still talk about games with the help of innovative technologies like blockchain. That should be the narrative of what we try to do. And gaming should mean having fun first. And we know that we kind of had this narrative of blockchain gaming is play to earn. And that's part of the process, obviously, thanks to what could bring the technologies of blockchain. But that shouldn't be the focus of why blockchain should be used in gaming. So we try to bring this education on our sides and explain these different drivers for the industry.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've also been noticing is that traditional projects or traditional gaming companies as well are also reaching out to Web3 game projects. What are most often, the challenges, or where do you get the pushback from these other projects that don't quite understand what we are fighting for here?
I think it's based on what they see and what they watch, which is not the best thing to actually watch when you try to understand the technologies. I think you have to start with the philosophy. In my opinion, you should and you can own your digital assets. That's it. And from that, you can understand why it should matter on your assets with any in-game assets that a game developer should provide to the gamers. This conversation is changing and that's for the best, I think.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. And I bet you got a lot of these interactions when you do physical events. Recently, you guys attended NFT Paris. And so what was the landscape like there? You guys are pushing for this narrative of ownership of assets, and you are in a very difficult time in the market. How does that work for you guys, or what is the engagement that you get?
One quick thing related to your question as well, but obviously we try to educate ourselves with what we know, but the main thing is also on our side to listen to what the concerns of the traditional gaming ecosystem has in terms of why not blockchain, why blockchain. So it should be an open conversation and not just us saying that we know the truth and you should listen. An open conversation we should have with them, and that's actually what we do when we try to organize things around big convention, crypto convention, but gaming convention. And for NFT Paris, one of the big things that we do is we want to help blockchain game companies to show what they have to show, to showcase the games. We need to show that actually playing blockchain games, it is fun. And the only way to do that is actually to let everyone at NFT Paris to play the game. And we let our members to showcase their games and explain why they choose to integrate blockchain within the game.
Then on the flip side of things, Flav, we also have the game developers. How I see it is they have a working model. They are very profitable, they have very strong IPs. What would be the conversation look like when the BGA sits down with people who have questions about why will I be decentralizing, tokenizing my project or a game that I already have a working model for? Like, if it's not broken, why fix it?
I would disagree a little bit on that, because obviously when you have a strong IPs, it's always easier to actually capitalize on your IP and develop these IPs with games. Look at what's happening with Harry Potter and the excellent games I wish I could play right now, but I can't. It's good for a game publisher to capitalize on strong IPs like that. But when you see the ecosystem, the competition for mobile games specifically, but also for desktop, it's huge. Like it's hard for game developers to make a living. So it's not always easy to actually acquire players, even if you develop a very cool games, because the competition is here. With blockchain gaming, it's a little bit different. Like I feel like you want to develop a strong IPs because you can bring governance to your community. They can decide of what kind of features you would have in the game along the way. So that's kind of a different things. But in terms of the revenues of game developers with blockchain, I think that will change a lot to a lot of game developers.
All right, so Flav, maybe my next question would be, what advice would you guys give to individuals or independent projects that would want to start building their Web3 games, but might have a bit of like qualms about it?
The first thing to do is to be confident with the technologies. As soon as you understand the philosophy of owning the digital assets, you build your conviction by talking to people and believe in it. After that, I think you really need to be involved in community like the BGA, but also other communities that make sense for you. And after that, it's start building your community, like get them exciting about each steps, each iteration of your project. So I would say that's the kind of advice I could give.
I mean, that's definitely perfect. Like it just comes full circle with what we've been talking about, like this whole interview. Let's say for the community or the people at home watching this, what are any events or any projects by the Blockchain Game Alliance that you would want to invite us to?
So we are involved in a lot of upcoming events like GDC San Francisco, a big gaming convention. NFT NYC will be there as well with games to be played at our booth.
Nice.
That's the kind of thing we will do all the year, like having some events offline and online with this mission of giving opportunity to meet and educate people. And obviously what we really want to do, we want to help our members who are actually building events to gather players in order to make them play games in a larger scale. We have a lot of members who try to capitalize on the BGA to bring more games to be played, and they kind of try to be this intermediary between players and games, blockchain games. So we want to help them with this cool initiative for sure.
Nice. So, I mean, everyone watching at home, so if you guys are going to be seeing the BGA team anytime soon, make sure to say hi. Like, these guys are the guys that you would want to be learning from and talking to. So, Flav, like, how does the community get in touch with you guys? What's the fastest way to get updates from your side of things?
If you want to learn more about the technology, why blockchain in gaming, we produce a lot of content on a weekly basis. So check out our YouTube and our Twitter account, Blockchain Game Alliance. If you also want to actually test games, there is something that we call Demo Day that we do in a monthly basis, sometimes twice a month, when you actually ask our members to showcase any advancements, features of the game. And you could actually win NFTs. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty engaging. So follow us on YouTube and on Twitter, and you'll be able to see all of that.
So guys, you heard it first from Flav. Make sure to check out the Blockchain Game Alliance. And maybe we'd see you guys, Flav, in one of these days on your demo days. And while you're at it, don't forget to like the video and share this to your friends and tell them about what's happening and what's going to be happening in the future of Web3 gaming. Flav, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I really hope to do another chat like this with you soon. Blockchain Game Alliance, you guys are doing a crazy, wonderful job.
Thank you very much, Sedano, again for the invite, and I would love to do a next one with you. It would be a pleasure.
For sure. Thanks, man. Yeah, so through the past market cycle, the response from the gaming industry has been mixed. Some developers and some publishers are eager to explore the potential of blockchain technology, while others are hesitant due to technical complexity, regulatory uncertainty. It's just the fact not knowing if what you are building is actually, gonna be of use in the future, or is it just a fad, right? But the biggest challenge I think here is education, where we need to help developers and publishers understand the benefits of blockchain gaming and also provide them at the same time with tools, resources, and of course to help them better integrate like this very powerful technology that can change what games are as we know it. I believe that blockchain gaming definitely has the potential to revolutionize the gaming industry by creating new business models, enhancing player experiences and promoting player ownership. Hopefully, this leads to a more open, a more transparent, and a player-centric gaming experience and ecosystem in general. So, we all know that blockchain tech lies in the digital world, and one thing that the industry needs is a way to bridge reality with the metaverse. So, another path has recently been built as arguably one of the largest digital wallets in the Philippines now offers cryptocurrencies on its platform. Gcash recently rolled out G-Crypto, the mobile wallet's cryptocurrency exchange feature, and with me today is none other than Mark Nunez, the head of partnerships for G-Crypto. Hey man, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. Doing good and excited to share to the audience today more about G-Crypto and how they can use it. Really excited because I think this will really help people get on board into Web3. And for those who are already in Web3, I think this will be an easier route for you guys to access your different Web3 apps.
For sure. I mean, I think, it's been a long time running. We've seen the G-Crypto feature icon on the app for the longest time, right? And when you tap it, it says coming soon. And that time has finally come. And basically most gaming chains are on G-Crypto. I have a few friends who have been very active in the Solana ecosystem that, traditionally you have to go through 2 or 3 other wallets or on and off ramps before being able to get your funds, right? But then G-Crypto makes that a lot easier. From Sol, from the game, go straight to G-Crypto and G-Credits, straightforward.
I think what G-Crypto does is it helps eliminate that friction on how to start topping up, especially being an on-ramp to be able to access these different games. For me, myself, I had that experience before. That nervousness when you try to send to the bank waiting for your cryptocurrencies. Yeah. There are a lot of steps in between. But right now with G-Crypto, everyone can easily top up their Gcash wallet, and once you have that Gcash credits, you just transfer it to G-Crypto, and once you transfer it, you just select the cryptocurrency, and right there, I think what's unique about G-Crypto when we launch is you can send and receive the cryptocurrencies, so it eliminates the step on doing that P2P transaction or the hassle of looking for someone who has the crypto, transferring it, waiting for it. So you can buy crypto, I think, in just 3 easy steps, what I mentioned. It might not sound like a lot, but it's a game changer, especially for those Filipinos who are looking to onboard into Web3.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, almost everyone in the Philippines uses Gcash, right? So now putting a feature where they can easily purchase crypto just makes life a lot easier. I mean, imagine if we've had this early on, right? There would have been, a lot more people, I think, who would have used G-Crypto. But then I'd want to ask you, so what was Gcash's, thought process here? So why did you guys decide that, we need to expand in the crypto space?
For Gcash, we believe that Web3 is the future. It might not be evident right now, but as we all know, the Philippines is one of the top countries in terms of Web3 adoption, and there are around 74% of Filipinos actually aware already of cryptocurrency, and 53% are interested to purchase their own crypto. But get this, I think the latest stat is 15% own cryptocurrency, or around 11 million Filipinos. So you see that gap, the ownership versus the awareness and interest. There's that big space, and I think that's where Gcash can come in. We're not forcing everyone to buy crypto, but I think it gives them access, and I think that will help bridge that gap. This will hopefully help the Philippines become the leading place for Web3.
Do you think, let's say, is it feasible for, let's say in the future, right? For, let's say, the Philippines to fully transition to e-wallets and cashless transactions?
I'm gonna take off my G-Crypto hat. But I think, yes, we can improve adoption of e-wallet transactions. But I think physical or paper money will not go away because of the challenges that we have in terms of infrastructure here in the Philippines. But what Gcash is doing to help bridge that is we're doing things physically by producing these para outlets. We're partnering with different sari-sari stores. And at the same time, For those who have the Gcash app, who are able to access or have accessibility to the internet, we try to grow the use case for that by onboarding more merchants. That's why financial inclusion is the mission vision of Gcash.
You mentioned that financial inclusion is one of the main focuses of the strategy here of G Crypto, right, and Gcash in general. Let's talk about fees, because let's say if you are holding fiat, then basically whatever you have is exactly what you are going to be paying for. But then when you are using digital platforms like Gcash, there are fees involved. So let's touch upon that a bit. So how do the fees look like when using your platform?
What we charge is usually just the regular spread that you do whenever you purchase cryptocurrencies or even other stocks, but there are no fees associated with topping up, preparing to buy your cryptocurrencies.
Let's say, how about for other cryptocurrencies? Like, what different cryptocurrencies are available on the platform, and what other currencies can we expect to be available here?
For now, we're trying to limit the number of cryptocurrencies, but we have 22 cryptocurrencies available. We made sure to consider the chains that have play to earn, so at least users can easily cash out. And at the same time, we made sure that we list first the top priority coins or the high market cap coins, because we want to make sure that the coins we list are approved, because we have this internal accreditation process to make sure our users are safe. What we want to offer in G Crypto are the coins that we feel are the best for our users to purchase. And in terms of future coins that we're trying to add, we're looking into expanding maybe in the near future, but making sure that every coin that we want to evaluate will undergo this very stringent accreditation process.
Right, I mean, that's definitely fair enough, right? It's very rampant in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space when it comes to scams. What are the measures that Gcash ensures to make sure that you provide a safe platform for first-time users and also people who want to possibly put bigger amounts?
We really try to curate the coins, even if it's a high market cap or very popular coin, but if it doesn't meet our standards, we won't list it. We're not after the volume, but for now, we're after in creating this safe for the crypto curious or the beginner friendly crypto. We also have a partnership with Bitsquela, and we want to prioritize education to our users. And particularly aside from the 101s, we want to teach them how to avoid these scams and how to safeguard your cryptocurrency.
I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, Bitswell does, provide a lot of very good opportunities for first-time users or those who are, as you said, crypto curious, right? You guys are a Web2 e-wallet, right? But then you are moving into the Web3 space as the G Crypto brand grows as well. So what does this actually mean for Gcash in general, now that you are part of this whole ecosystem, and how do you see this growing and evolving in the future?
Right now, we're just really focused on how do we bridge that gap to help onboard Filipinos into Web3 safely. But also, after helping onboard these users, we are planning to launch some use cases where they can use their crypto. We're launching some NFT collections soon, and watch out for that. So we're calling it Gcash NFT Hub. So we'll be offering NFT collections, helping them enjoy Web3, but at the same time making sure that they're safe, and this is curated by Gcash.
Nice. I mean, yeah, I was supposed to ask, you mentioned an NFT marketplace or an NFT platform. How do you see G Crypto participating in the Web3 gaming scene as a whole?
Currently, what we're focusing on is helping these Web3 gamers have an easier off-ramp solution using G Crypto. We have SLP and Axie. Axie listed in the G Crypto platform, and at least it would help these users off-ramp their earnings, and then they can easily use it to pay bills. But who knows in the future? I can't reveal that much yet as of now in terms of gaming. But for those who have games who are looking to partner, they can approach us, and let's see what we can do from there.
So, I mean, how I see it is that having Gcash native in your game or on your platform or on your project, that definitely would help onboard people a lot easier.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to go through the whole process and, swapping out coins and transferring from different platforms from one to another. It's basically one click and you're able to, if you're going to be purchasing NFTs in game. So basically the same exact mechanism, how it works with Web2 games. But now we are going to be seeing it in the games of the future. So that definitely is something very exciting that, we are going to be watching out for. So guys, it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting for this feature from Gcash. And finally, as of today, for everyone watching at home, Gcash is now fully launched all around the Philippines, and maybe, who knows, in the future, maybe even all around the world.
Yes. Coming soon.
So the addition of Gcrypto to Gcash's portfolio of services is overall a positive sign for the crypto space, especially in the Philippines. It shows that more and more institutions are slowly embracing blockchain technology, which is a step in the direction towards the mass adoption of the whole space. So yeah, definitely watch out if you guys want to see more videos and updates about what's happening in the Web3 space. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, even visit the YGG website, that's yieldguild.io. But then again, thank you so much, Mark. It's been a pleasure to be able to see you and talk about Gcrypto and very exciting stuff ahead, man.
Thank you as well for having me. And please use your Gcrypto. It's now available in the Gcash app.
Yes, sir. Artificial intelligence, or AI, has been a hot topic in the recent months thanks to the growing popularity of an AI tool called ChatGPT. Launched in November of 2022, OpenAI's chatbot caught a lot of people's attention with its accurate and well-articulated responses throughout a variety of knowledge domains. I mean, you wouldn't really know, right, if like this video, this production is made by AI, but someone who would actually know is Luis Buenaventura. He's the country manager of YGG Pilipinas, and he himself has first-hand experience with ChatGPT and all these new AI technologies. Luis, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm hoping that our script today was not written by AI.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if they watch, until the end of the video, would actually say if it's made by AI.
Yeah, we'll let them know.
I mean, so like we've come a long way, man, from the robo vacuum cleaners and Siri.
I have one of those. They're great,
right? Until they catch all the hair and they stop working.
Yeah, not so great after that.
So maybe the new algos, like the new knowledge bases, can now do it. But maybe my bigger question here, Luis, is how do you see AI being implemented in blockchain?
AI and blockchain, or I guess AI and crypto, has actually had a long relationship. No, not just recently, but actually from about 2018, we already started to see crypto tokens that were actually very specifically around AI. I can talk about a few of them. One of them is called Alethea. There's another one called Fetch. But the one that I really like is called AGIX. And this was created by the chief scientist that popularized the term artificial general intelligence. There's many different types of AI. The one that we're currently using is called narrow AI, meaning that it is very specific to a particular task. ChatGPT is really great at giving you text answers. Midjourney is really good at generating images based on your prompts.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? So I think it's called narrow because they're working with, a very limited set of resources, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the future, like, is this something that, we see
hopefully gets bigger,
gets expanded?
Yeah. So the idea is that it's not true intelligence if they can only do one thing. And maybe one of the narrowest forms of AI, the one that we first grew up with, was the chess computers.
Yeah.
As time goes on, the narrow kind of definition has gotten wider and wider, and now we can do like entire text conversations with ChatGPT. It's very hard to tell sometimes if you're talking to a human or not. AGI, artificial general intelligence, is what we call it when the AI basically has no limit to what it can do for us. It can write us a song, it can write us a poem, it can generate an image for us, maybe make a video like this for us, right? And that's kind of the big bet. But we're still a ways away from that. So the reason why I like the AGIX project is because it was not a cryptocurrency project first. It was an AI project first. That's the company behind that is called Singularity Net, and they are trying to basically be the company that cracks the AGI puzzle, the artificial general intelligence puzzle.
So we're not talking about Skynet or anything, right?
We're kind of getting close though. So I'm sure
I'm gonna ask you, like, are we supposed to be afraid of like what can happen with the next generations of AI?
I mean, I'm sure there
A
are
lot of people on social media are.
Yes, of course. And I mean, so am I suppose. But the thing that I will probably say, and it's just me being a normal person, maybe just don't connect that AI computer to nuclear missiles. That's probably not a great idea.
I mean, you could connect it to your robot vacuum cleaner.
That's
just
probably
not
enough.
To,
Yeah.
I mean, weaponry.
At the most it can do is stub your toe really hard.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna kill you. There's a lot of science behind this that is saying that even though ChatGPT feels so advanced right now, the truth of the matter is we're actually very far off from AGI. Like, we're talking decades away.
But then, I mean, is it really that accurate? If I'm not mistaken, was it the other company? Was it Google or was it Google or
Yeah, it was
Facebook?
Google. It was
Google.
Anthropic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was the company that Google bought or was investing in, I should say. So they did make some mistakes with the facts that they were spitting out, and I think that that's kind of still the danger with AI. AI itself can't tell which fact is real or not, because it's not like AI can go out into the world and verify how many satellites there are in the sky, right? So they are just referencing data on the internet, and data on the internet is not completely accurate either. Where we're at right now is that it's a great research assistant,
Yes.
but I'd still do my own research. But it's a great start. And the thing that I like about the Bing.com implementation is when it gives you answers, there's actually footnotes.
Okay.
So you can actually, if you want, you can verify. You can click on
Gotcha.
each individual footnote and actually read through it.
So how do these like knowledge databases like actually work?
The way that AI is being trained is that it's actually being trained on these massive data sets. I think ChatGPT at the time, this is version 3, it was trained on a data set that had about 5 billion data points in it, meaning that this wasn't the open internet. The open internet is like petabytes of data. In this case, it was 5 billion data points, and that was how ChatGPT learned about the world. As the AI models get more and more sophisticated, you need to have larger and larger data sets. But having a really large data set implies that there needs to have been a human to actually curate what is in that data set. You can't just harvest the internet as is, because the internet has so much fake news. It's got racist comments, sexist comments. Basically everything wrong with humanity is also on the internet. So the challenge now is, how do you compile a data set that is big enough to really educate our AI, but at the same time make sure that that data set
It's
is
credible,
not,
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a challenge, because you actually need a human, or many humans, to go through all of that data and make sure that it's not crazy. And then, of course, every human has a slightly definition of what is right and wrong. So it's tricky. It's a tricky conversation.
But then, like, do you think like it's possible that in the future, like AI companies or like AI resources like ChatGPT can actually replace real jobs?
I think that with every new kind of era in technology, some jobs will get replaced. The internet basically had a hand in the destruction of many industries, right? I mean, you could argue that, shopping in the mall has gone down way a lot because of e-commerce. So there's a whole bunch of different industries that will be affected by this. I think with ChatGPT where it is right now, the most likely industry that will get affected is, unbelievably, SEO or search engine marketing, because AI makes it so easy to create copy or text based on particular topics and things like that. It makes it just so easy to do that. Maybe you don't need to hire an SEO or SEM firm anymore to do stuff like that. So I think that as it gets more sophisticated, some jobs will be replaced. But at the same time, it will create new jobs, because now, if you are, for example, an AI art designer, your job is not necessarily to create the art yourself. You're not rendering the art yourself, but what you are actually doing now is you are coming up with the correct prompts that you could feed into Midjourney or a DALL-E or any of these other engines to come up with something cool for your clients.
I mean, it's good that you brought it up. So, you being an artist yourself. So, how does this actually like affect like traditional art, or how does it also improve, like new gen art?
When the whole AI art movement came about, I was originally a little insecure, because some of the stuff that it was producing was actually really beautiful, and it would have been the kind of stuff that a human artist would have taken hours to make versus this AI was doing it in literally seconds, right? Now, the thing about AI though is when you actually look a little closely, it gets a lot of details wrong.
Just don't look at the fingers.
Yeah, don't look at the fingers, don't look at the feet. The more complex the scene is, the less it will make sense, usually. And the reason for that is because AI itself doesn't actually know how objects interact in the real world. It knows what a human face looks like. So if you need a portrait of a human face and you don't want to pay for stock photography, you don't want to hire a human model, AI will, get you there in 30 seconds. But if you want anything else, you kind of still need human intuition. And I think that what I've found is that AI is not really completely there yet. It's about 90% of the way there, but I think there's still a lot of room for human artists. So I'm less insecure now, I guess.
But then, I mean, in general, right? So how does this translate into blockchain, into NFTs? Like the whole concept of this new technology?
So I think that if you look at AI purely as a tool, then it's no different from saying that, our NFTs were rendered using Photoshop. I mean, it's just a tool. And ultimately what matters is, was the idea good or not, right? And one of the most expensive NFTs in the world are CryptoPunks, and those are just pixels. There's nothing amazing about the way that looks, but it was a novel idea at the time, and that's what makes it expensive. I think it's going to be the same for NFTs. The thing that is going to sell them is not necessarily whether or not it was created by AI, created by Photoshop, or drawn by hand with pencil and paper. That's not it. What will sell it is, was it a great idea? Did it have good mechanics? Was the marketing on point? Did the community respond to it? Those are still the things that will matter. And again, maybe AI will just shorten some of the more tedious parts of the process, but I think it's still going to be humans all the way down.
How about for blockchain in general, right? So how does AI plug into blockchain projects?
Actually, so this is more of a matter of opinion, I think. And I think that the more into software engineering you are, the more you'll have a strong opinion about this stuff. AI generally needs what we call very, very fast and big throughput, meaning it's hundreds of thousands of ideas getting pushed through the pipe all at the same time. Blockchain's not good at that. Blockchain is a very slow kind of communications technology. It's not really great for stuff like that. So you could argue that they're actually not complementary to each other. Blockchain is more about reliability. And AI needs a lot of speed. I think that the reason why we have projects like AGIX that's on crypto is because they needed a fundraising mechanism. Okay. So they used crypto as a way to raise money for their platform and their project, and now they're going on strong. And that's great, right? And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the only real interaction that AI will have with crypto for now. But I do have a feeling that when the next bull market happens in crypto, AI will have some part in that. I'm not sure exactly how, but it seems almost inevitable because crypto has this tendency to kind of ride on certain waves. And I think that the next big wave will have AI in it for sure.
So again, Luis, before we wrap up, so we had Chat GPT-3, right? And then now we have GPT-4. And what can we expect from this?
What I thought was very interesting about this release was OpenAI is suddenly very, very secretive about what's going on inside version 4. Unlike in version 3, they actually had entire white papers describing how the whole thing worked. And with ChatGPT-4, all we know is that it's 50 times more powerful, but we don't know how or why or what they've actually done inside. Now, it could just be magic, but it's probably a little bit more mathy than that. What is interesting to me about that whole situation is that it implies that OpenAI is no longer as open as it used to be. It was envisioned as an open source foundation, and now it is becoming more and more of a for-profit tech venture. And they raised, I guess it's now $11 billion from Microsoft. So I guess they need to get some returns on that at some point.
Yeah, in general, it's ChatGPT it's now it's a commercial product, right?
Yes.
And they offer subscriptions.
Yeah, I paid the $20 for it. Yeah.
Would you say it's worth it?
Well, because at the time, ChatGPT was so popular that there were moments when you were trying to use it and then it wouldn't respond, right? There would be disconnections or whatever. So I decided I'd use ChatGPT Plus, which was $20 a month, just so you would always be high priority. I don't know if that's still going to be useful or necessary right now because you can just use bing.com, but I guess if your job involved a lot of writing and involved a lot of research, then it's always going to be useful. It's kind of, your mileage may vary depending on what your day-to-day activities look like.
So I mean, I guess like everyone at home, like we are still, waiting out on what's going to be happening with GPT-4. I mean, is there really a difference? Is there, is it day and night compared to ChatGPT-3? Will Luis finally end his subscription and just go back to his IRL assistant instead of a virtual one? But yeah, stay tuned, guys. And yeah, if you guys want to hear more content and watch more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. That's youtube.com/YGGTV. And yeah, we'll see you real soon. All right, good day, ladies and D-Gens, and welcome to this week's episode of YGGTV. Today, we've got YGGC co-founder Irene Umar to give us the one-on-one on what's happening on their side of the metaverse. Hey, Irene, how are you doing?
What's up, Sedano? I'm doing good.
It's been a while. Irene, since I last saw you in the PH Web3 Fest. What have you been up to?
A lot of things has happened since we last met, right? And there are a lot of excitement. I think YGG and YGG Southeast Asia are also working together on a lot of projects to help, especially to help the game developers out there who would like to get their footage on in Southeast Asia. And there are a lot of features that we're developing as well. And perhaps you're aware of it, Sedano, that YGGC.io platform is finally live. And we got our community members to be a part of it. We get them to be more involved. And there are tons of things that's going on. And I'm super excited to share with everyone here.
I mean, definitely. YGG and YGGC go way back. Like, you basically are YGG's first ever guild partner. But then, having YGGC isn't like any other guild partner. YGGC is a lot of different countries, and it's definitely a regional approach to how guilds are organized and structured. My question for you, Irene, is what's the importance of having YGGC as its own entity and approaching these different countries at the same time?
I think, Sedano, the same thing happened in the Philippines, where if you go to the different parts of the Philippines, I'm sure there are some parts of Philippines where your Tagalog will not work. But the good thing is with Philippines, the majority of the population, they do speak in English. And they have really good command of English. Even if they don't speak it, most people read it. And that's why Filipinos, everywhere you go, you'll be able to find one because of the ability of language. And I think that it plays a significant role in terms of making crypto as the main adoptions in the Philippines and making it a crypto capital of the world. The rest of Southeast Asia is a little bit different. In Indonesia, I am in Indonesia. Even in Java alone, if I travel 2 hours to the right or 2 hours to the left, there you go to the left, because there will be people who'll be speaking local dialects that I wouldn't be aware of, right? And Indo is a huge country, and then you expand it to the rest of Southeast Asia. Language and localization is ultra important. And I understand that for games to localize every single thing in game, that would be almost impossible. We did a quick research. I think there's around 1,200 different languages all around Southeast Asia. And so when we would like to penetrate into each and different communities, we got to first respect and understand how different people speak, what is important for each and every different community members before you even talk about games. And that's why having YGG Southeast Asia is extremely important, because that's the platform where we want to bring everyone together as one for the love of gaming.
I definitely think that it's not an easy task, bringing different communities all together under one flag. What would you say, the biggest challenges for YGGC is, and how are you strategizing to approach it?
We didn't start from scratch. So we had YGG to back us up, right? And there are YGG community leaders, community managers already existing all across Southeast Asia. It's just that they have not been extremely active because they've been shy. They've been, they might not be able to speak the language properly. And so when we started YGGC, we were able to start off with 4 countries with local presence since day one. But having this strong foothold of people who understood what YGG is all about, what Web3 is all about, and most importantly, they understood the pain of going into metaverse because we all experience it. That itself is extremely helpful for us to make it easier, make it a mission for us that anyone who would like to come into Web3 will make that process as seamless and as easy as possible, because we don't want them to go through what we went through. But I think, Sedano, as much as we love the metaverse, and as much as we live in the digital world that we are today, what is important is the in-person meetings. Thanks to the community leaders that we have out there who have been arranging meetups or coffee sessions, right, on behalf of YGGC, on behalf of the love for the community. And so with that set of communities, regardless of whether it's a bear or bull market, they stick around because we are here to build community that lasts. It's like having a family. It's like having a boyfriend and girlfriend. You don't want people who are transactional, who are there because you have certain things, or you have money, or you have fame. You want people who are there for you through thick or thin. And that's the ethos that we have been building from day one.
Yeah, I mean, those are very good points, Irene. But, one thing that I definitely am seeing is that the strength of the YGG brand and YGGC as a guild partner is we definitely are a source of credible and reliable information. And the community members see that, and I think that's what really drives value in what we can offer, not only to the current community, but the new entrants of people who are interested in Web3 and gaming in general, right? I think, what we are really good in doing is being able to bring out the talent from Web 2 and applying it to opportunities in Web 3 in general. So how do you guys build your communities despite what's happening in the market?
In the beginning, right, when we first started, the whole idea is just to get as many people on board as possible, because we know that the cycle of the bear and the bull market, just as how the cycle of life is, there are ups and downs. It's just that in crypto it happens a lot faster. So we recognize the fact that we got to onboard as many people as possible and incentivize them with the economic reward that the bull market provides. But the moment they got in, we have to have almost an eagle eye to watch who are the ones who are really, really here for the long run. Starting from day one that we established YGGC, we have started to spot real good trainers, real good community leaders, and even real good buddy system. And until today, they are actually the pillars of support that's out there. And now this year, our theme for YGGC is how can we create as many opportunities as possible for our community leaders and for our communities out there, even though there's a bear market. Because this is what I believe, Sedano, we need to have a mindset shift by rewarding people who stand up, the people who put up their hands and say, I want to learn this. The best part of the metaverse is that anyone could be anything that they want to be, as long as they're willing to work for it. Our job in YGGC is to provide those opportunities, provide the upskilling of the training sessions for them so that they could, continue to grow up. So the question is, how do we convert the people who might not have the experience, might not have the opportunities before, to be able to get onboarded into metaverse as fast as possible so they would have a stab at the opportunities that's out there?
Those are really good points, Irene. Especially looking at the early entrance into Web3 gaming, right? Irene, I believe that you guys have just officially launched the YGGC website. So what's up with that?
So the YGGC website is meant for community members. Previously, we were focused on scholarships, but starting from 2023, we would like to open it up to all opportunities, because we realized that in the past 1 year, we have graduated, quote unquote, quite a lot of scholars. They were able to buy their own assets and now become, asset owners. What happened is then there's a disconnect between the closeness of YGGC and the graduated alumni. And we would like to bring them back because we miss them. That's one. Second part is there are huge community members out there that are very curious about crypto and would like to jump into it, especially blockchain gaming. And there are a lot of gamers out there. So to make it easier year, we launched YGGC.io with a couple of features in mind. One is it's extremely simple to log in. You don't need to have a wallet to log in. All they need is just an email and a phone numbers. They would be able to get into YGGC.io. Now, within the website, there are a couple of features. One, it has the look of a Play Store or Steam store, where everyone will be able to come in and see what games are available out there. And if you see a toggle available, it simply means that you could come in and apply for a scholarship. And I like to think of a scholarship program as a car test drive program. When you click apply, it simply means that, oh, I would like to test out this game. But before you buy it, especially for newbies, I understand even 1 cent is money. And we don't encourage you to spend unless you know what you're getting yourself into, right? So that you don't speculate. And so we have a suite of games that you could test drive on. And right now, I think we are the only guilds that have almost 20 games available for our scholars right now, for our community members to try out. Second thing is that when you log in, you'll be able to see that there are lots of events. So we have an events page going on in different countries in local languages. So what YGGC does is we have a set of events from different countries that anyone can be a part of and join. You don't have to be a scholar, so you just have to be a community member and, participate in it. And the third thing is you'd be able to go to the quest system. There are so many quests that we could do, and there are so many prize pools that are available out there. And gone are the days when the quest is done, and then you'll be sitting there waiting, when am I going to get my prize? So what we have embedded into the quest system is an auto disbursement system. So there's a smart contract embedded into it. So game developers will have to come in, put in their prize pool, and the moment the campaign ends, it'll be dispersed automatically. And lastly, we're testing the ability to convert crypto. It's as if you go to a time zone and you consider those crypto tokens that you have as time zones tickets, you playing the booths, right? And you'll be able to convert those into prepaid mobile credits, into credit card payments credits, right? I'm mindful here because I don't want to say you use crypto to make payments, because that's not how it is. You just use the crypto tokens that you have earned from in-game and you convert it into something else. So we are beta testing that, and that would be very helpful for a lot of communities out there. So guys, we do listen to what you want, and I know the wish list is super long, as if it's Christmas every hour, and we are working really hard to make sure that those features are jam-packed in YGGC.io.
But, for everyone at home watching, so how do we connect with YGGC? How do we, be part of the community?
Go to YGGC.io, and there is a register a login button, and just click on it, and you're part of it. And the first thing you do is, imagine you enter into arcades, right? You just choose the game that you would like to test. Hopefully we have slots, because it's pretty full at the moment, but at least you're in the waiting list. The moment it's available, we'll pass it to you, no strings attached. Just play it, test it. As long as you're active, you can keep it. But we always encourage, guys, NFT prices are really cheap right now. If you love the games, it's the same thing as you buying Mobile Legends skins. If you love the games, the game developers need to survive. If you want to show your support, one way to it is that get the NFT, support them, and play the games, introduce it to your friend. Because with that feedback, they would be able to develop their games further so that we could enjoy the game more.
Awesome. 100%. I couldn't agree more. One thing more exciting than having a really fun game is the game having, a thriving community and also economy at the same time. So, everyone at home, make sure to follow YGGC. That's at YGGC on Twitter and all their other socials. And at the same time, while you're at it, while you're watching the video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And Irene, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure being able to hang out and chat with you. And hopefully, next time, we get to pull you in here in the studio and get, more updates from your side of the metaverse. And until next time, see you so much. Thanks, Irene.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So today we have one of our very first guild partners joining us. The whole crew is here. Ola.gg. We've got Nico Del Pino, we've got Juan and Cydrake. How you doing, guys?
Hey, Sedano. So I'm Nico. I'm co-founder and CEO of Ola.gg. Super excited to be here. I've been good friends with Gabby Dison for a while. I've been watching firsthand the impact that YGG has in the Philippines, and I'm super proud to be able to bring the model to the Hispanic markets.
Hey Sedano, I'm Juan. I'm CMO of Ola. Thanks for having us. So I've been in marketing all of my professional life, and I'm really happy to be building Ola Guild Games along with this amazing team.
Hi, amigo Sedano. How are you? I'm YGG family. I'm Cydric, the head community of Ola GG, and I'm helping creating the community and also teaching and also learning from all the members of Ola GG.
Awesome. I mean, I think this is the first time that the whole crew is together on a call right now. So, I mean, it's a reason for us to celebrate. But in general, for everyone at home, so Ola GG is our guild partner in the Spanish-speaking regions. And I mean, my question here would be, so why is it important, that we have a team such as you guys, focusing on bringing out and discovering the talent in Web3 and blockchain games?
So for us, it's particularly important to bring what YGG is doing in the Philippines and in other parts of the world and really bring a local footprint into Latin America and the Hispanic markets. We believe that the context on the demographics in our community is perfect for Web3 gaming adoption. On the one part, we are speaking about a large population that almost half its population are active gamers, online gamers, right? So there's a high level of gaming adoption. On the other side, sadly, the realities of an emerging economy, right, where the basic salaries are on the lower end on a global basis, and all of the sudden Web3 is inviting you to participate in a global economy, right? So at times, income generated by Web3 opportunities is transformational. The other aspect that's interesting about Latin America, more specifically, is that because the economies they have been broken for such a long time, it's interesting that the crypto adoption is particularly high, and that's why we're super pumped about promoting the adoption of Web3 gaming.
How do you see it expanding? I mean, what does the expansion of Web3 gaming look like, and what impact does your community have in it?
I think that at the basic level, there's an upgrade in the technology that we are used to, right? Running NFTs allows you or the user to be real owners of the assets that they are either purchasing or producing on the game. And that's the initial and basic competitive advantage. So you can get away with those assets. You could trade them, you can store them for lives. Those are yours. At a long-term basis, I think we have the basic infrastructure to run digital economies now. And that games are the perfect setup because they are engaging, because they're fun, because they're social. For me, it's not hard to visualize digital economies where you're working with teams, as it were, like mini organizations or local communities, where each is bringing different expertise or talent or assets. So in the end, I suspect that where we are going with this new technology is in the build-up of a digital economy. I think that's the trend that we are starting to navigate.
So Cydric, like you are facing the community most of the time, right? What challenges have always been popping up? Especially, when the downturn of the market started early last year.
The first one is the drop of the tokens, right? Because right now, there are just a few projects that are really profitable. The other thing is about the NFTs, the terms, all the terms about NFTs, cryptos. There are people that right now play Web2 games right now, but because of all the news that the cryptos are really bad, the NFTs are really bad, that's really difficult to attract the other gamers from Web2. So we are trying to, first of all, identify the games that are really fun and playable. And the other thing is about the security and the technology, the blockchain technology, because not everybody knows about how to use a MetaMask or don't know how to deposit the tokens and do the swapping between them. So that's the other challenge. We have to create some manuals. We have to create special videos about teaching how the blockchain technology it's working right now.
By essence, right? The guilds are the go-to for onboarding people into Web3 games. I mean, in general, that's what the strength of a guild is we have our community that is more than willing to help new entrants into the market.
Let me refer to a quick survey that we run among the community early on, because we were surprised by the fast-growing rhythm of our community happening primarily on Discord, right? And so we asked them out more directly, like, why do you come to Ola? Like, what is it that you find valuable here? And there were three particular answers that stood out very clearly. The community came to Ola particularly to play and to have a fun experience. They came to earn, and that's where they found the ways of earning, and they came to learn, right? And that's the other angle that we like to bring as a guild. Playing Web3 games, it comes with an educational component that at the basic level is a setup on how to play, how to set up your wallet. But then on the long run, this is your way into what might be a new digital economy, Web3, where lots of jobs and work opportunities and financial inclusion opportunities are being created.
In addition to that, like, might be asking, for all of GG, like, what are the programs that you guys have, that you guys are working on, that specifically caters to your current community and also those that are about to join the All of GG community?
Of course, we have content, educational content like every week where we talk about different concepts, Web3 concept like a basic Web3 onboarding. And also we have a gaming community that loves to play games. And this past month, we've been exploring tournaments and the esports side of it. As you may know, we have partnered with Team Heretics, that is the largest Hispanic esports team in the world, is the 5th largest team in the world. So we are working side by side with them, like how to grow the esport ecosystem. With this, we launched 2 months ago our esport platform that we have built with GG Tech. Of course, that we are bringing this opportunity to also have fun to our community with esports, and this is crucial for us because they have to have fun in many ways. They want to have fun playing a casual game. They want to have fun creating content of the game, and they also want to have fun participating in these tournaments.
For me, esports is particularly important for Web3, right? There's the earning component that Web3 democratizes or opens for everybody, and before that, earning out of playing video games, it was the dream, right? And there are a few individuals, these highly successful organizations, esports teams, that they made it. They built out companies and they are hiring professional players to play their favorite games and really go pro. So that's something that we look up to. So for us, it's important to show to the community that Heretic is with us by our sides, that Heretic will be looking into the community to find the next generation of professional players whenever Web3 esports is a real thing in terms of team competition, and really something that we can all aspire to build a career in gaming. And Heretics, you know, it's quite an organization. It's not only the group of players. So I think that's where Web3 is complementary in so many different ways. In the end, skills are needed for all these organizations. So I think that's where we want to be, maybe helping facilitate the initial steps, and ideally helping connect our community with the best opportunities that we can find in this world of Web3 gaming.
I definitely think that you guys would agree that esports is one of, you know, the main factors that is still keeping Web3 gaming alive despite the market conditions, because you have players who are dedicated, you have players who are interested in the game and are actually having fun, and these are the types of players that we're looking for. So if a game has an esports component to it, that I personally think that there is a much higher level of success and potential with these games blowing up, right?
Absolutely agree. And that's why we're betting and we're investing in our esports platform, and hopefully we will be hosting many tournaments in the next few weeks. We have plans. We're having fun with YGG as well, competing in a good way, and maybe create some sort of rivalry.
Yes, sir.
The sub-DAOs and the different guilds.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
That's how you keep it fun, you know.
100%. So if anything, right, like we should have been doing this ever since. But now, like, there are more guild partners, like we have more games, we have more projects that we're working with. So before we wrap things up a bit, how about you guys on YGG? Like, how do you see, let's say, 2023 to 2024 panning out? Like, what do you guys have your eyes set out for?
Yes, definitely for us, the priorities are hopefully crystal clear for everybody. We are community driven. We are community first. We believe opportunities, they might be coming and going, and we will be happy to support whatever's working at the right time, but always looking at the community first. So we have huge ambitions to keep growing the community, higher aspirations to engage the community with more activities like tournaments, like content creation programs, like educational courses. We are building our gaming catalog platform so the community can spend more time just reviewing what's going on in the industry, finding out about the latest. So definitely community first. And looking forward, especially this year, having more, after the pandemic and the extension of the pandemic in a sense, we've grew getting comfortable to getting to know each other from a distance via a computer on screen. So especially for this year, a personal mission that I have is to connect more in real life with the community. So hopefully we can put together more events in the different hubs where our community is gathering and really build it or get to know it from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's good because, having physical events actually like works really well in having online events happening at the same time. So do you guys have any programs in the near future that, would want to share with the general community?
I think I would go back to tournaments at the tournament platform. We are running tournaments for Web2 games. It just has to do with understanding what the community wants to play. And Web2 tournaments, they still have high levels of adoption. What we bring on top of that is a level of recognition that's on-chain, right? So we are strong believers that data that's being recorded on-chain, that's the data that will be there forever. That's your soul-bound achievement.
Yes.
And that's a way that we like to think the members of the OLA community. And what we trust is that tomorrow we can rely into looking into who did what, who achieved what, how reliable are the different community members. So the best opportunities could be catered towards those that achieve the proper merits.
How do we find out more about YGG? How do we sign up? What's the best way to join your community?
Yeah, the best way is to come to our platform is YGG.io. That's where you can find the latest on what's going on within the community, activities that we are posting. Have a look at the gaming catalog that we are putting together, best content out there. There are also several quests that you can run and we'll give you awarded XPs. So we also have a store where you can trade those XPs for like prizes or products, and the tournament platform, of course. So lots happening on site. Please come and join. Send us your feedback. Also welcome to join on Discord, where there's definitely an ongoing party happening.
I'm completely impressed.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you definitely count on us on being there. Thank you guys so much. And you've heard it first here on YGGTV. Our friends, we have Juan, we have Cydrake, and also we have Nico Del Pino with us. So yeah, we'll see you guys pretty soon. And thanks for dropping by. Adios mis amigos. So it's kind of undeniable that projects in Web3 leverage a lot of content creators to elevate their brands. It's kind of given because content creators, for one, are already in the gaming space, and they definitely know the communities and know how to talk to their fans as well. And in the studio today is, I think, one of the best content creators in Web3, the one and only Archer Perezz. How you doing, bro?
Yes, sir. Again, bro. Very excited sa segment na to and maging interview.
We kind of go, a bit of way back in terms of Web3 games, right? The height of Axie Infinity, that's when YGG started working on their own events, their own tournaments. And one of the biggest tournaments at the time was the YGG Open. So this was our first in-house tournament that was produced all by community volunteers. But then it came to a point that we actually needed a shoutcaster. So I was browsing on Twitter and I saw this guy, Archer Perezz, follow the YGG page. And next thing I know is that, Archer was shoutcasting one of our very first tournaments. How you doing, man?
Very, very happy that happened. Actually, yung nangyari doon, I was spamming Twitter. I want to shoutcast Axie Infinity. Then, yun nga, we found each other. Oh, and
sounds like a love story.
Yeah. Then, nagkakita na tayo doon. Then, we got to shoutcast for that. So, very thankful kasi yun yung jumpstart ng web3 shoutcasting career ko.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's when talent meets opportunity.
Yeah.
Like at that point, like it just made sense. I mean, I definitely learned a lot aside from all the shouting that we did on stream. So it taught me how to tone down and also how to shout more at the times that are needed. Right? There's a lot of skill involved in shout casting, like I think, right? It's not just going on stream and just watching the game and giving your input. There's a lot of experience. So like going back a bit, Archer. So how did your career start in gaming in general?
In gaming, well, very the usual story na parang yung dad ko hindi nakakapag-games na nagkaanak na, mag-games ka na, games tayo. Then, nag-start na yun, na-love na ako sa game, na-love na ako sa games. Then, eventually, I found PewDiePie. Then, nakita ko, he's playing games while commentating over it. So, sabi ko, I want to do that as a job. And eventually, as time passed on, after I graduated, I dropped everything, let go of everything. Content creation is the path. After nun, I guess the rest is history. Nandito na ako ngayon. Until now, content creation pa din ako. I never looked back.
So you used to watch PewDiePie, right? And then now, like Archer Perezz, the brand. Was that always your name? Why didn't you go for like TunaPie or something?
Actually, hindi ko talaga real name Archer. Nung time na naghanap ako ng parang cool nickname na I got hooked sa Feats Day Night. So Archer yung favorite character ko doon. So since Friendster days, Archer na yung nickname ko.
Nice.
Then eventually, I just brought it until college and everyone started calling me ever since Archer. So sabi ko, might as well.
Something that piques the curiosity of our viewers, especially those who are thinking of or have just started their content creation career, their shoutcasting career, right? So what was that transition from, day one? What was that big project? And then, how did it, like slowly evolve from there?
From day one na content creator, sobrang hirap niya actually. Hindi siya parang, content creator, you can earn from this. Hindi talaga. I got multiple times na parang gusto ko na mag-give up.
Okay.
Lalo na nag-start of streaming. Like 6 months in, I was treating it as a job oras ako maligo, mag-stream, mag-connect with people. Pero 6 months span, wala talaga nangyayari. It's a very, very rough industry kasi everyone wants in the industry. And before, onti pa lang yung competitors mo. Lalo na ngayon, mas matindi na yung competition. Then, eventually, I got a huge break naman. Someone raided me. I eventually got my name out there. Nagka-sleep stream din ako na I fell asleep on stream kasi after a night out of drinking, I promised someone's wish ng birthday niya, mag-stream Dota kami. So, nag-stream pa din ako habang medyo
it was the anniversary of your sleep stream a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yep. Yeah. March 5 din. So I fell asleep on stream and I got my name out there talaga.
So a lot of things happened in March 5, right? So we're going to be flashing what happened exactly a year ago in the YGG Managers Summit. And the mighty and fallen at that time in March 5. So every March 5, I think it's his anniversary.
Yeah.
So like save the date, guys. Next year, March 5, we're going to be watching out for your next post, Archer. What games did you actually start with? And what games do you really love playing? If you were to choose, what game would you be playing? But also, what did you start with?
I started with PUBG. PUBG talaga nag-start sa akin. Then, on the game that I really love playing, let's say, that's the only game left in the world, Project Zomboid. Very niche, but I love the game. So,
let's say Web3 games. What are you? What Web3 games are you looking forward to?
Still in the Axie ecosystem. They're really whipping up some things on the back end. So, I'm really looking forward on what is the evolution of the ecosystem of Axie. So, aside from LANs, I got the chance of playing LANs as well. Just like Mech Infinity as well. And yeah.
I have natural talent, especially for Axie Infinity. I mean, it's because I think you're very interested in the game. You even do streams where you have some of your friends join you on stream and you're actually teaching them how to play these games, right? So I think that fits very well, with what we're trying to do in YGG, right? If I'm not mistaken, you guys also now are part of Web3 Metaversity. Could you tell us more about that?
I got the chance and the privilege to teach what I've learned in this half a decade career of shoutcasting. I've heard it's gonna be for free and it's gonna be accessible to anyone who's really interested in getting into professional shoutcasting. Some people are intimidated about it. They want to get in, but they don't know how to start. And this is the tool and way for you to have your eyes open and see the doors that you can enter this profession and still have a career and have a living out of it.
Yeah, so basically like first-hand experience in Web3 Metaversity. So you're going to be dropping the link for you guys in the description, so make sure to check that out. And I mean, while you're at it, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and share the video to your friends. So Archer, how does the Archer Perezz brand, look like in the next 2 years? Like, what's in it for the fans and the follower?
I can't really say, in a sense, because I just adapt to the nature of what's happening around me. As of me as a content creator and shoutcaster, I'll still be doing it. I won't be leaving this industry anytime soon. Parang this is where I'm rooted na, and this is something that I really want to be doing in the next few years. So,
and I think, if I'm not mistaken, right? So Web3 also did, elevate the Web2 Archer Perezz brand, right? So
of
now
course,
you're working with Blacklist, right? Which is one of the biggest Mobile Legends teams in the Philippines. Can you tell us more about this project, man?
So when Web3 content creation did not die though, it just went down a bit. I got the chance to work with TikTok Philippines, and I got partnered with them and covered a world championship for Mobile Legends, which is M4. I was making content for TikTok and Blacklist International at that time. Then eventually, after the big tournament, they were like, Archer, do you want to be part of the roster? I was like, yo!
Yes, sir.
Yo! Akala ko nagloloko lang sila at that time. Then,
so okay lang yun kahit banu ka mag-Mobile Legends.
Oh yeah, pero we
that's the dream! So where do I sign up in an esports team even if I suck at playing games? Can you teach me? I guess I have to watch the Web3 Metaversity of Archer Perezz to find out, ladies and gentlemen. What I want to ask maybe, Arch, before we wrap up is, what is, the strategy from getting to, let's say, your first 10,000 followers, and then how did that change to get to your first, let's say, 100,000?
Kasi sabi nga nila, the first step is the hardest step lagi. It's you getting noticed is the hardest hurdle. Once you get noticed, you have to make the best out of it. For me, I guess yung matuturo ko na lang, lalo na starting off, lalo na if you're finding your niche or finding your specialty in the industry, just do easy content that you could reproduce efficiently. If you're gonna be making content, parang just do it in a day, in a few hours. If it goes viral, you can surely replicate it at least alam mo na yung niche mo. Kung hindi siya nag-viral, you just spent 2 hours, 3 hours. So it won't really hurt you in a sense. Pero yung maganda naman dyan, you have to adapt as well. So set timelines din, 6 months or 4 months, 2 months. Kung hindi talaga nagpa-pop off, maybe you should do new tactics. Sometimes people are just working hard pero mali na yung tinatrabaho nila. I guess yung okay din talaga is for them to adapt to new things, try new stuff, and experiment with the things that you could do. Maximize your skills and talents na lang din.
Gotcha. Very well said, Archer. I mean, definitely, like, everyone watching at home is going to be loving, the feedback and also, the tips and tricks that you have up your sleeve. So, Archer, before we go, why don't you, invite everyone at home to check out the Archer Perezz Web3 Metaversity course? Go for it.
Again, like we've mentioned and discussed earlier, again, you need to beef up your arsenal. And if you want to get into professional shoutcasting, now's your chance. Again, it's free, accessible for everyone. So do check out the course of YGG. So Web3 Metaversity Shoutcasting course. So I can't wait to see people checking it out, getting through the course, and hopefully I get to work with you guys soon. So yeah.
Awesome. So I mean, Archer, wow, why don't you invite everyone at home to check out the pages, and how do we connect with you, man?
Check out my socials. So it's at Archer Perezz in every social. It's double Z. So it's easy to find, and I hope to connect with you guys too. So
One of YGG's advocacies is to help onboard more people into Web3 and the metaverse. To do that, YGG needs the best talents to create captivating and educational content to help more people understand that Web3 isn't that scary. Today we have Mercado, one of the premier members of YGG All-Stars, YGG's program that focuses on local creators and talent to help people understand the benefits of Web3. Hi Ian, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Hi everyone, and I'm pretty excited for today.
Yeah, me too. Who was in before Web3? Like, you've been in gaming for a while now, but like, what was that like for you? What was your early days like?
So way back before when I was still studying, I'm doing content creation na. I create my own costumes, I do cosplaying, and late college, I started live streaming.
Actually, let's go back even further than that. I know that your childhood had a lot of gaming involved.
So I started gaming when I was young, when really young. And the reason why it's because my dad doesn't want me and my brother to hang out with other kids.
Yeah, okay.
So what he did was he bought us PS1 and Game Boy.
What was your first PlayStation game? Do you remember?
I remember it's Bugs Bunny time. Bugs
Not
Bunny
exactly
time
what I was
something.
expecting.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess because you were actual kids. You
Yeah.
weren't. Okay. Okay.
I
That's
didn't
interesting.
play,
Yeah.
and if my dad didn't bought us consoles, I wouldn't be probably.
So I guess parents do know best. It turns out, no? So now let's move forward a little bit more in time. So how did you get started with content creation? You said that you were kind of more in the cosplay world
Yes,
first. What was
yeah.
that like in the early days?
I think that was 2010 or 2009. I was a fangirl of this Japanese band called Heisei Jump. I don't know if you know.
I'll pretend that I know who that is. Okay.
I met a lot of women who was a fan of that group. One of the members told me, "Hey, you should try cosplaying because you watch anime and you like the Japanese culture." And I'm like, "What's cosplay? I don't know that." Go to this event. That's Ozayan 2009, I think. Yeah, and then just wear a costume. So what costume? Any costume. So immediately I thought I should wear my Halloween costume. So
Which was
a
what?
fairy.
Oh, okay. At
A
least it
white
wasn't
fairy.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I went there and a lot of people were wearing wigs. There were anime characters, anime uniforms, and wow, I was astonished by the community. So
You must have been like 13 or
Yeah, I
something
was
like
young.
that. So when we first met, I guess it was December 2021. So it was a while back. That was actually the first time I also met Archer. That was
yeah.
the Christmas party of
Christmas
YGG.
party,
By
yeah.
that point, you already had a little bit of interest in crypto and blockchain and stuff like that. How did you discover that?
way back 2016, there was a viewer and he donated like a lot. Like sometimes he donated $1,000, and I was asking like, why would he donate $1,000 on my stream? And then he messaged me like, "Are you interested in earning?" Like, why?
Okay.
Because like I earned a lot. I learned a lot in crypto, and I watch your streams, and I think you're a lucky charm. So that's why he didn't want to be selfish to me. He taught me about what Bitcoin is, Ethereum.
Did you ever meet this person in real life?
We're friends right now. He's a Filipino, and he retired early. He's the same age as me.
Oh, wow. Lucky guy. Okay, so yes, it turns out that you can actually make some money from crypto. Who would have thought? For the benefit of our viewers who don't know you that well yet, maybe you can walk them through like what you do for YGG, how you got started with YGG.
I discovered YGG first when I started playing Axie because YGG is the biggest guild. So I heard like, if I want to be affiliated with something, I wanted to be a helper in the community and, something big that would make my visions come true. So I got in touch with Archer, and Archer was talking with YGG, and I think that's why we met on the Christmas party. I was very excited to meet Gabby and
And it was, I think we remember, all of us observed that it might have been the first time we'd ever seen you without a wig. Like you were dressed like a normal person. Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, wow, all right, that's interesting.
My role in YGG is actually in talent acquisition, talent lead. That's the main goal. But right now we're building something big for the viewers or for the people who are crypto enthusiasts, and we are building Metaversity. Okay, guys.
So this is a course that you're working on. Your goal here is to be able to teach learners about the career of content creation, being a brand ambassador like you. I think what we're kind of going to look for here is maybe a quick teaser of kind of some of the stuff that you teach. You actually differentiate between two main types of content creators, right? So this is the educator content creator, and then the entertainer content creator.
So the entertainers are most likely people who lifts up the spirit of the viewers, make them happy, or just give a bit of information, but it's more of like a mood thing. While educators give so much information to the viewers, giving them hows, do's, don'ts.
Where do you find yourself in that range?
I feel like I want to be in the middle.
Sure.
Sometimes
yeah.
I do I want to create funny content. Sometimes I want to tell them this is the right thing to do.
You also distinguish between single game creators and then variety game creators. How does that work?
This is a community-based perspective. So if you are a single-focused game streamer or content creator, meaning you're building your community around those games, because some games are really popular and you want to build the community within the popular game, so you create content within that game. While if you are a variety game streamer, you try to play different games while your community remains, even if you play other games.
So would it be fair to say that if you're a variety game streamer, your community doesn't care so much about what the game is, they really kind of follow you more?
Yes.
Okay.
Technically,
that's interesting.
It's kind of the branding that you're building.
When you first started realizing that you could make money or, kind of have an income from content creation, how did that begin for you? What were your first few steps like?
I think in cosplaying, that was content creation immediately for me. And I knew that maybe in the future, something would be given to me in the future, but I don't know when, what, and how. So I just kept on doing it. I auditioned in a TV hosting opportunity in Animax. I think that opened a door for me to see what content creation really is. I just kept on doing it, and then when I realized, some brands are actually getting me do content with their products, and I get money in return. That's quite cool. Cool.
How many years had you been doing it before then?
I think that was around 3 years before.
Okay, so you'd already been kind of working in the industry for about 3 years before you had your big breakthrough. And then from that point on, I guess it was kind of you just kept building and building from that.
I kept building out of nothing. I did cosplaying, I streamed, I tried hosting too. I tried to know more about what the gaming community is before I could have built my community right now.
I guess the point that I was trying to go for here was that a lot of successes take a while to kind of get there.
Yes.
But then when you actually hit that moment where things are starting to really improve for your career, it feels like it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
The term for this is it's an overnight success, but it was 4 years in the making or something like that. Is there any specific tips that you have for aspiring content creators who aren't there yet? Maybe they're still in their first 3 years.
The biggest advice is you shouldn't really stop if you think there's more to what you can do. Sometimes people get disheartened. Hey, my post didn't get so much my post didn't get viral. With the current algorithm and the current things in social media, you should just study what the people like, work around from it, and put your branding, put yourself, and put your creativity in a video. And then just be consistent with that, and you'll see it will be fruitful.
Why don't you invite our listeners and viewers to your Metaversity course? I think that would be great for them to hear from you.
Hey everyone, I'm inviting you guys to check out my Metaversity course. That's content creation with Mercado. And of course, we will learn more about what content creation is, your personal branding, and what are the do's and don'ts when you do content. So yeah, I'll see you guys there.
Thank you to our YGG All-Star Mercado for her contribution to the overall vision of YGG and crypto adoption in general. If you're interested in learning from the best of the best, watch out for their classes in YGG's Web3 Metaversity. Thank you and see you in the next episode of YGGTV.